Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's been a 3-week hiatus thanks to the world's longest international break, coupled in with the FA Cup weekend. I feel like Man United on a pre-season, to be honest. I can't even remember the Bournemouth game. Not that it was that memorable.
I was thinking this today. I genuinely can't even think of it's going to be difficult predicting United because I can't remember anything. So
I mean, the predictions app, watch this, we'll probably do better than normal. That's going to be, the predictions app's going to happen after this, so please go and check that out as well as this episode. Hope you can stick around for this. We're talking about the title race. As you can, we all know, it's City and Arsenal. It's been City and Arsenal for most of the season. Liverpool have been absolutely nowhere. They got bent over a barrel by PSG last night in just in a complete domination. I mean, maybe Liverpool's for another episode. This is about City and Arsenal. This is about Pep and Arteta. This is about City fans and Arsenal fans, and I'm sat opposite a City fan right now. So, Christian, let's get straight into it. Look, there's 7 games to go for Arsenal, 8 games to go for you because the Palace game is getting rearranged. Where are you heading into this last 8 games of the season? Confidence levels, before we get into the fixtures, which we're going to in a minute, because that's what it comes down to, right? It's a numbers game. Can City win the league on 85 points, which is the maximum City can get if they win 8 out of 8. Talk to me about where you're at right now with your confidence levels. Obviously won the Carabao as well.
Yeah, I think I'm mixed feelings, to be fair, bro. So, I mean, coming off the back of that cup win, I thought the way we beat them, we really did give them a slapping and took the piss. I mean, Cherky taking the piss for the last 20 minutes. I think that was a little bit damaging. And a lot of people a lot of Arsenal fans thinking they've turned a corner or their players have got a better mentality than that of what we've seen in the past. I think it was a bit of a harsh reminder. I don't think they have turned that corner, Alex. And when we're heading into this last stage of the season, it could rear its ugly head. You know, look, the fixtures are kind for Arsenal, like we're going to go into later. But I really do see a mentality problem with Arsenal Football Club. I think where they're currently at as well, they've been making a joke about this set piece. Me and you have spoke about it religiously, Alex. It's all good joking about it, but I think in the back of their minds, they were always thinking, this has to keep working because we haven't got anything else. I think suddenly they've been sussed out. You're seeing now that they're getting 4 corners a game, and I don't think they're really looking that threatening off them anymore. And they've not got enough time in the season left to reinvent themselves. This is about just crawling over the line and doing whatever is necessary. And it's interesting because if you look at the two teams' form, I'm very confident at the moment. I think City look very settled for the first time, probably all year, to be fair. Yeah. Coming off the back of 2 serious wins, absolutely smashed Liverpool. We look great offensively. He settled with the Rodri Bernardo thing. You know my thoughts on that I didn't think he could get that working. Fair play to Pep. That's why he's the manager, and that's why I'm sat in my bedroom. Look, I don't really know if we're going to be able to do it. It's going to be tough because we've got to go perfect and still only finish on 85 points. We've got to hope that we beat Arsenal and then them still drop points. And even then, it's down to goal difference, which you'd think if the rest falls into place, the goal difference will naturally come down and it will be about level. I think they're +7 right now. If we go and beat them, say 2-0, it's going to be +2, -2 for them. It's going to level out, I reckon, because we need them to lose another game anyway. But mate, it's tough. What do you think, though?
Yeah, no, I think the Carabao, they were just so pathetic. In a way, they were so bad. It's almost just got chalked off because they were that bad. You know, if it was a close game, I actually think it would have crushed them more. But they were so pathetic. It's almost like, I just can't believe they're in this position. I still can't really. And it was the whole thing. It wasn't just the mentality. It was their ability level. They're not. This attack of theirs is shocking. If they do win the league, they're going to be the first team to win the league without what I would deem, well, you can forget world class. I'm talking good to very good attacker, because their front four and their bench players. There's a reason Max Dowman is getting minutes, and I actually do think he's key to this title run-in, because I think he could potentially turn some draws to wins. I don't think any of the others are capable of doing that, and I think that's damning. And I think that's a reflection on the coach. I think it's the reflection on the players. I think they're established internationals, and they've been shit all season. And like you said, their cheat codes have run out now. There's no more clean sheets. They've pissed off. The corners have dried up. Now you're looking at your forwards. You're looking at this is when you had Thierry Henry, you had Pires, you had Bergkamp, you had those guys. You had like Viltord and Overmars and Ljungberg who were good as well. These, I don't even know where I'd even place them in the league. Saka, Trossard, Gyökeres and Odegaard. I don't even... I mean, what are they? Mid-table? Mediocre at forwards? I think that's probably being generous, to be honest, from what I've seen this season. So I think there's two things here. I think there's a mentality issue, but I also think there's an actual ability on the pitch. I think you could put in whatever sports psychiatrist in the world in charge of Arsenal. I don't think you're going to get a different tune out of them right now. I don't think they're good enough. But like you said, you touched on it on your intro. This does come down to the numbers. Now let's get to the numbers. Arsenal have a 9-point lead, as you can see behind me. They've played a game extra. Psychologically, you've got those points in the bag. Like I said, now you can see their City have got the 8 games remaining. Arsenal have only got 7, starting with Bournemouth this weekend. So they could stretch that to a 12-point lead, but it is almost a little bit of City can block the noise out. And City, Guardiola said it. You've got to win 8 out of 8, Christian. Just on that, before we get into the details of the fixtures, I assume you think we win 8 out of 8 is the only way of winning this league title, despite what we think of Arsenal.
Yeah, of course it is. I think the lead they've got at the minute, it's a little bit fugazi, isn't it? I don't think it's a genuine 9-point gap. It kind of is what it is. I am very confident that in a couple of weeks, that gap is going to be down to 3. That's how confident I am. I think we will win the game in hand. Chelsea is the sticky one. I do think we're going to have enough to get over that. If we do come through Chelsea,
you've got to, haven't you?
We will 100% beat Arsenal at the Etihad. I'm telling you right now, I don't think they've got the bollocks. I don't think, like you said, Alex, they've not got the ability on the pitch. You know, we've been saying for weeks, looking at these players, me and you, going, how the fuck are they doing what they're doing? Like, in a way, almost, I think I said it on one of the predictions, Alex. It might have sounded disingenuous because we've given Arteta some heat. In a way, if it wasn't him that had built the squad and he'd just walked into this and inherited it, I'd be giving him massive credit, saying he is getting a lot out of these lads because they're not genuinely that good. The fact he has bought them and he's designed them this way and set them up like this, then he is obviously getting the heat. But suddenly in the recent weeks, Alex, we're starting to look at this and we're suddenly looking at Gyökeres, Saka and Trossard and we're like, right, they're now playing like exactly how that sounds. And it ain't very good. And that is why they are going to have to just try and bleed this over the line. Whereas City can, if they look like they're picking up form, obviously Haaland, finally we're seeing some signs of him coming back. If he gets going, it's going to make for an interesting end to the season. And I think if we do close it to 3, Alex, it makes it very interesting when you bring in this Arsenal squad, their ability and their mentality and that coach that I don't think is unable to unshackle players as well.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good piece. I mean, let's get into the fixtures because I want to talk about how this might look. You mentioned that potentially this could be down to 3 points. Essentially, if Arsenal win 6 out of 7 and they lose at the Etihad and City win 8 out of 8, they're going to win the league by 3 points. 3 points means it's going to the last day. Like you said, the goal difference might probably come in a little bit. Like you said, if City do end the season on 8 out of 8, you probably say City might be ahead on goal difference. That means it's going to go to the final day. If City win 7 out of their next 7 games, by definition, regardless of what Arsenal do, it is going to that Palace game away, Villa game at home. City have been there before, Villa at home, by the way, which is quite funny. But Palace away, look, every single away game I think this season Arsenal have struggled in, except maybe that Leeds one where they won 4-0 out of nowhere, which surprised me. Palace away ain't going to be easy. And they aren't finding any game easy. I'm looking at, but Burnley at home is the penultimate. This is probably a relegated Burnley. Now, I can see Arsenal really taking care of business in that game. If they can win the league in that 37th league game, they will do it. They will do it. If they can win it, so like we know the numbers, we don't need to go back through them. If they can go 4 points clear at least in that 37th game, I think they will because they've got the buffer of Palace and Burnley are a relegated team. If they can't take care of business at home to Burnley, what are we even doing? So I think there's a big thing on these next 6 games for Arsenal. Before you get to that Palace one, you need to get yourself in a position to win it on that 37th game because I don't trust them at Palace. Even if it's a 3-point lead, Christian, and you think we could draw, they could lose that. They could lose at Palace away and City go and beat Villa. Looking at these fixtures, you circle Chelsea, which is the game this Sunday, which is huge. Is there any others in this list that you look at where you've got Chelsea, you've got Arsenal, so you got 2 biggies there. You've then got Burnley and Everton away and Bournemouth away. Would you put Everton away in a bracket where they did blitz Chelsea 3-0? They're quite tough to beat. Is that
Yeah.
the only other game you've circled really that you're thinking, oh, maybe? Or
If you want my absolute honest answer, Alex, I'd be. I've still just because we played two very good games back to back. I'm not forgetting the whole season that's just gone by. I'm not forgetting Forest at home. I'm not forgetting Chelsea at home. I'm not forgetting Brighton. Do you know what I mean? So I can't just because of two games go, oh, the only team I'm worried about on that list might be Everton
yeah,
away. I am still quietly worried about all of it. I think Chelsea is a big pointer for me. If we go and put them away or we win comfortably, a 2-0 comfy win, then suddenly I think, nah, do you know what? I can see us going and winning out. But until they prove that to me, I think we've got to keep this train going. We have put ourselves in a good position, but we are ultimately relying on Arsenal dropping points. We need to beat them, and they need to lose as well. Now, I do think they will drop points as well. This is where it's key. And if City, if they might only draw, which wouldn't be enough. If they do lose, that does make it seriously interesting. And if City win out, then I can see it possibly. But there's a lot of ifs and buts surrounding it.
Well, let's get into let's flip the question actually, because like you said, it's pretty basic for City. If they don't win 8 out of 8, it's curtains.
Yeah.
Let's look at Arsenal because, like you said, they do have to slip up. So you've got to circle some games. So you've circled the City one. You think that's a loss for Arsenal, right? Fair enough. Okay, we've got Bournemouth at home this weekend. Look, they played in Lisbon on Tuesday, so I'm leaning that this should be comfortable, but this is Arsenal. No game has been comfortable for them since the turn of the year, really, other than that Leeds game, which we'll go back to. They've only got 2 more. They've only got 3 away games left this season. 1 being City, 2 being Palace last game of the season, and West Ham. So they've got 2 bottom half teams away from home, other than City. Then they've got Newcastle, Fulham, and Burnley at home. Fulham are a dangerous side. Me and you like Fulham. I just don't think they're set up to beat Arsenal that well.
No.
Away.
Alex, here's my opinion. Out of that list, I think if you were playing on FIFA, it would be straightforward that Arsenal go and win out. We're not.
Yeah.
And we also know the way Arsenal play. I actually think Fulham, you'd look at that, in layman's terms, you'd be like, Fulham, if we're circling it, they're probably the most likely to do some damage here, other than obviously us. I disagree. I think Fulham will open themselves up and Arsenal will be able to get something without struggling, huffing and puffing. Where I think they're going to come up against it is your West Ham's, your Palace. I think they're really going to struggle in them tight games. Because we are seeing in recent weeks, mate, they cannot break teams down. They haven't got players that can score goals.
You're looking at West Ham, Burnley, Palace as a finale to the season for Arsenal, and you think that's quite difficult based on how they've been playing.
I think every single game, like you touched on, Alex, is difficult for this Arsenal side and where they're currently at. They're not putting anybody away. If you were putting bottom of the league Wolves in there, we saw how they did against them.
2-2.
It doesn't really matter for me. I'm not judging this by it's top of the league versus 16th versus 15th.
No, I hear you.
I'm judging this on how this Arsenal team is incapable of scoring and looking convincing right now against anybody, no matter the level. We just saw Southampton, Alex. They lost and they deserved to. Do you know what I mean? I'm not really. It's a hard one for me to pinpoint a particular day, fixture, time, but I do think they're going to struggle. I think they are. If they drop points against Bournemouth this weekend, I will come to you and I'm going to come chest out, which I'm not ready to do just yet, but I will come chest out. If they lose to Bournemouth or even draw, I think they're in grave trouble.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, look, if they do beat Bournemouth, lose to City, they can afford another slip up, a draw, without letting it go to goal difference, which would be really. I mean, they're dicing with it as it is if they lose at City. If they could draw one of Newcastle, Fulham, West Ham, Burnley, Palace, and still win the league, I think they'd be in a reasonably that's a reasonable position. Look, they're favourites to win the league. Clearly, you'd be in their position. The point of writing this City game off as a loss for me, and this is their fan base. It is their fan base. This is their pundits. This is your Ian Wrights of the world, your Thierry Henrys of the world, your fans. Yeah. They're looking at this and going, right, it's effectively a 3-point lead. How negative and pathetic can you be that you are chalking off a game? This isn't... Look, City win 8 out of 8, fine. I agree with you. I'll believe it when I see it, because I do think You can't trust City because they've not won 8 out of 8 all season. So it's just simple as that.
Yeah,
So
facts.
they've got to do something they've not done yet, right?
Like what I said, yeah.
Arsenal, why are you not just circle? You know, when I said to you, Christian, which one are you circling that you think they could slip up in? Why are Arsenal not sat there with that fixture on the board in the dressing room of every single training session going, we go to City and we win the league that day? Because they can. Mathematically not. I get that, although it'd be it'd almost be done. You can win it basically on that day. What an opportunity. And you've got the insurance of if we don't win it, we can still take care of business against Newcastle, Fulham, West Ham, Burnley and Palace, man. Why are Arsenal not looking at that City game? Let's go glass half full and go, what an opportunity. This is in our hands. We can win the league at their house. Why are they not looking? Ian Wright's of the world going, oh, well, let's just forget the City game. No. I'm old enough to remember when Arsenal came to Old Trafford and won the league 1-0 with Viltord. Sylvain Viltord scored. Arsenal won 1-0. They didn't have to win that game. They came and they took care of business and they won it in Fergie's house. Why is this mentality now so pathetic? We want it given to us. We want Burnley and Palace to roll over in May and give us the league. Why are they not circling that game, Christian, and going, this isn't a juggernaut City team. They've been better, I appreciate. Why are they not looking at that going, we can go and win it? And what a message to send to City, by the way. We're the little brother who's come to your house and won it.
Yeah, exactly. I think if you go back in history, Ali, it's interesting you saying that, obviously a little bit before my time, but even in recent history, you look at the teams that they go into the season and they say, we're the favourites, they're top of the table, they're going to the other grounds and they're taking it. They're not hoping for results to go in their favour. They're not waiting for things to happen. They're taking matters into their own hands. You go back to Liverpool, fair play to them. People are laughing at Slot now, but they took it by force. You look at Leicester City, Alex. They took it by force. I remember them going to Old Trafford. They came to City. They battered us. They went everywhere. Arsenal getting a crucial last-minute goal. Now, they seem to be the only team in recent times that I can remember who sort of just want it given. And I don't think, you know, they cry about that everyone has suddenly got behind City and wants City to save the league, and they feel sorry for themselves. They need to look at their own attitudes and why people are actually like this. And it does boil down to these sort of subjects where they do just want things given to them. No, go and fucking take it. If you're the best team in the league, you go and grab it. You come to our ground, you fucking spank us. But you won't do it. You're pussies. You'll play for a draw and you'll fucking lose. That is what you do because you're cowards. I genuinely think that team is a bunch of fucking cowards. And the worst one is the guy that's managing them.
Yeah, I totally agree. This isn't just us looking at. And by the way, I don't blame the fans or. It's not their fault at the end of the day.
I think they're being, at least in fairness to the fans, I think they're being realistic.
Yeah, they're reacting to what they've seen. They know. You just said you know how that game's going to go, and it really, really frustrates me a lot about this, where that it's not necessarily down to okay, I don't rate their forwards, whatever, but you can go there with a mentality that can at least try and win the game. The fact that we know what they're going to do, because a draw puts them in a very, very strong position. It's not as good as look. It's obviously not as good as a win, but I'm talking about how the table will look if they beat Bournemouth, you beat Chelsea, and they draw to you. It is effectively a 6-point lead if you take care of business in your game in hand with Palace. It's a 6-point lead with probably better goal difference as well. So it's almost 7 points with 5 games to go. 3 of them being against bottom half teams. They're almost there. So the attractiveness of that draw to Arteta is going to appeal to him. But what a difference it would make if they went there and went 1-0 up in the first 20 minutes and kept the foot to the floor, because I'm not saying they're not capable of going 1-0 up. Of course they are. But if they go 1-0 up, we know what they're going to do straight after it. They're going to go, oh my God, where is that clock? Let's just get that to 90 minutes. If it's 1-1, we'll deal with it. Is it just... that, for me, is what puts them in the category of the worst winners ever, is the fact that I know they're not going to come and beat you 2-0. I know they're not. They might win. They might scab a win. And that's my frustration with Arsenal.
I think, I obviously I align with you on this. I go back to Liverpool days and our title race with Liverpool, and I always had a lot of respect for Jurgen Klopp and that team. And I tell you what, I mean, watching the
Facts.
City documentaries, and Pep himself said that they actually terrify me. Now, they did with me as well. I remember just every day checking, every weekend checking the results. They were just keeping
Mm.
up with us. They were hammering teams. They were going 1-0 behind, but it fucking didn't matter. They were going and winning every week. They came to our
Is
ground and
Saka,
they tried.
Gyökeres, and Trossard keeping Pep up at night?
Exactly. No, they're not. And that's the thing. That much so, look
Or
at the
you?
team he played, how offensive we were in that cup final.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
But yeah, you look at Arsenal, Alex, and it's a shame, right? Because if you win the league, I'll give anyone credit, and I will still hold my hands up. If they win the league, I'll say you deserve it. Not a problem. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter how you've won it, doing your bullshit corner routine. You won it fair and square. I'll hold my hands up. But I will still say it is going to be the worst winners. You are behind Leicester. Leicester did it in a classier fashion. Yes, they hung out, but I tell you what, they still went to beat teams. They still went to take the league. I don't think Arsenal have it in them. I genuinely think, Alex, getting this over the line for Arteta is his career on the line. Because if he doesn't, I don't really see what they're doing next season, because they're going to have to reinvent themselves. I think everybody already knows City are a better team than Arsenal. I think we've all established that now. The way we put Liverpool away, the way we destroyed them in that cup final, how limp they are. And we're going to reinvest. You know, City in the summer, they're already fucking talking to players. You know they're going to go hard again. I think if they don't get this over the line, I don't think they ever are going to. They've got to reinvent themselves next season as it is and go with a different format, because everyone sussed them out on this fucking set piece thing. So, mate, if they don't do it now, Arteta is in deep shit.
Is Arteta the first coach in history that could be on the verge of winning his maiden Premier League title that almost most people are already saying probably needs to move on after the season regardless? Because a lot of Arsenal fans are in that bracket already where they're going, nah, you know what? Get us the league title. We can all celebrate. We can have the trophy parade. People like rival fans have got a. I'm not going to give them a round of applause, but I will admit they have won the league fairly. Is he the first coach in history that, like, it's almost a case of, okay, tick the box, bro, but we need to move on from you. You've dragged us into this depressing style of play. We are not an offensive unit. Somehow we've got a 16-year-old kid who's still doing his GCSEs, who is probably the best attacker, and that's probably because Arteta's not had his way with him either yet. Because there was once upon a time where Martinelli, Saka, and Odegaard were good. So
I was just gonna bring this up. I'm glad you mentioned Max Dowman, right? So when you were bringing that up about Arteta, and could he almost be on his way out, or Arsenal fans wanting that after a league title win, I think they are, a Max Dowman being handcuffed under an Arteta system for a half a year next year, between it getting really ugly between the fan base and the manager, because I think there'll be a drop-off with Arsenal next year. They're not, if they do win the league, I don't think they're going to retain it. Not under Arteta. I really don't. I think City are going to strengthen. I think Liverpool are going to come back. They're going to probably get Alonso and go in a different direction.
Yeah.
Look, even United, I'm not even being sarcastic.
No.
United are going to get stronger. All these teams are going to go at you, and I don't know where Arsenal are really heading. They need to reinvent themselves, and they know it. So, look, I think Arteta, if he continues with this manner of football, and we don't see a Max Dowman living up to his full potential or even getting the opportunity, I think you're going to start to see it getting ugly. And a lot of these fans that are maybe on the fence because they're like, look, if we win the league, we're happy, which I do get that mentality, by the way. I've been there myself. But you will see it change quickly if you think, oh, no, next year they're third at Christmas. You will see it change very quickly.
I mean, look, he's got the before we come on to City side of it, we'll wrap up on City's, what this means for City in a minute. Yeah. Just on Arsenal and the what he has done. He has brought a machine like, they rack up points. They're going to be 85 plus. Well, I suppose from your perspective, you hope not. But it's going to be around, well, fuck me. I tell you, if City do win it, they won't be around 85. They'd have to be lower because that's all City can get. Yeah. But they've been around the 90, haven't they?
They're in the 80s.
Yeah, they're in the 80s, which is, look, it's a decent points total and might be good enough to win a Premier League title. They've also going reasonably far in cup competitions all of a sudden, whether it's easy draws or not. They are looking at semi-finals of the Champions League for the second season in a row. They've got a little bit of steel about them. One thing I will give them this season, when they've been teetering on just absolute chaos, which they were Tuesday, by the way, after Carabao and FA Cup going up in smoke. It stunk of it. Can Sporting Lisbon be 2-0 up going into that second leg situation?
Yeah.
They actually found... I didn't watch the game, and by the way, I won't be watching the semi-final against Atletico either. But...
That'll be like camping in a typhoon, Alex. You just get through it, get
Yeah.
your head down.
Mate, look, if they get to the final of the Champions League, I'll watch that, but I ain't watching a second of that Atletico massacre.
No chance, man.
But what I do want to say is that do you remember after Arsenal played United and Cunha scored in the last minute, and this was it, the title race is about to blow up, they've got no chance. They went and beat Leeds 4-0. I know we've mentioned that a few times in this episode. They went and beat Lisbon 1-0. However bad the game was, their season was teetering on Monday evening, where we've gone out of 2 cup competitions. If Lisbon are 2-0 up, have we gone out of 3? And I know Lisbon aren't an amazing team. It's still the quarterfinal of the Champions League, Christian. I just want to make a point of that. They aren't mentality monsters. That's obviously not a hot take, but they've found
I know what you're saying. They've
grown
grown from. Yeah.
What I would say is, though, there's a difference between going to Leeds and winning and Lisbon winning. The fact we're praising that says a lot with how pathetic they truly are. Because obviously me and you are asking, not you, but people like me are going, go and do it at the Etihad. I don't want you to do it against Lisbon. But they found something in the depths of hell at moments where it's been like, we are on the cusp of... Well, look, it could have just been all over Tuesday evening. If they're 2-0 down, they're probably out. They found something on Tuesday. They're looking at a semi-final of the Champions League. They're still in the hot seat for now. Is there anything you look at and go, really, you tip your heart? Do you look at Max Dowman and think of the importance of that kid now in this running? Honestly, do you think Dowman's got a key role to play here?
I think, first of all, what you said, you made some really good points, and it's balanced and fair, because you have got to give them some credit, like I said earlier on. If they do get this over the line by just, doing what they need to do, doesn't matter how the ball's going in the net, they're just picking up the points and they keep rolling, and they have changed. I do agree with you. Look, you are right in saying that they're no mentality monsters. They've not come back. They're not a different team. I don't truly think they have turned that much of a corner, but they aren't as bad as what they were, because they were awful. Because the Arsenal of old, under different managers, would, and even him in the previous seasons, would have gone out. You are right. I think 2 cups, 2 weeks. I think that would have been the third. Definitely. They certainly wouldn't have won. They certainly wouldn't have got a last minute goal. So look, there is credit. They're digging deep, and they're having to, because they don't really have another way right now. Max Dowman, yes, could he play a part? He could, but he won't, because of Mikel Arteta. And I think he's going to make it more difficult on himself by not leaning on this young lad, because not only do I think could he play a key part in the title race, I think he should be on the plane to the World Cup as well. I think he's that good. Me and you did a video on him, Alex, and any Arsenal fans that have reached this part in the video might think we've bashed your club to bits, or the manager, and you might feel a bit pissed off. Go and watch that Max Dowman video, because as much as we're harsh sometimes, we're consistent with praise. And I tell you what, me and you both align with how much we praise that young lad, don't we, Alex? So
yeah, no, and look, I saw the Southampton game purely because I had a bet on it. That was the only reason. Max was amazing.
He was class.
I just love watching him play football. It's just as simple as that. Everything we said last summer in pre-season, like you said, anybody want to go and check it out, go and check out our video, because I think it's going to age very well, that video. And if he goes on the plane, it certainly will, because we called it then when he was 15. So, look, I think if they do something, I'd like to see a lot more of Max. Okay, he got 15 minutes on Tuesday, and I must admit, I did sit up a little bit there when he did play him 15 minutes away in Lisbon in a tense moment there, because you don't need the win. You don't need the win. And I'm not saying, like I just said, I'm not saying he's grown into this sort of aggressive coach, but I did sit up a little bit, and I thought, you know what, actually, he did roll the dice slightly with Dowman there. I mean, Dowman deserves it, by the way. I mean, fuck me, he's their best attacker, but he did bring him on earlier, Christian. And I do look at these next 7 games, particularly the City one, and I think we will see Max Dowman in the City game, and I do think that's important to know. He should have played in the Carabao final. I can't believe he didn't after the Everton winner. And yeah, he has a big role to play for me. But let's get to City and how this season might end in May, June, whenever the last game is. FA Cup final. I don't know, is that before the end of the league as well? So you'll probably have that wrapped up if you do take care of business in that. So
Yeah.
look, it's been a weird season for City. It's been very up and down. You, like Arsenal, can look back if you don't win the league. You can look back at moments, results, games. You mentioned a few of them
Tough
already.
stay away, yeah.
Just talk to me about the potential of coming second before we do the pros of a domestic treble. Talk to me from your perspective here. That two questions in a vacuum, looking at this season. So forgetting that you've won 4 out of the last 6 leagues. Are you gravely disappointed to come second to this Arsenal team, forgetting the comfort of a 4 leagues in a row in recent history? If we look at the 2024-25 season in a vacuum, how do you feel as a City fan to come second to this Arsenal team, potentially?
Yeah, it's a huge drop-off, and looking at the quality, me and you just been discussing at length the quality of that Arsenal team, we don't rate it. So, I have to be consistent and say, well, City's quality is not there either, is it? And we've seen that. Look, City, I believe, are in a transitional period. And I'm a lot more optimistic than I was at the end of last season because everything just seemed a mess and up in the air. We made huge investments, Kusanov, Vitor Reis, Marmoush, and I just didn't see the fit. Marmoush obviously missed a critical penalty in that final, and that would just seem like the fitting end to that season, really. Now,
Yeah.
I think this season's going to end a lot different, to be honest. The odds are Arsenal are probably going to take the title, right? So shake their hands, they get on with it, yeah? But I do think if we come out with a League Cup and an FA Cup and this young squad that we're now building, which it is a young squad, I think Cherki has really come into his own. He had an incredible cup final. I mean, he was absolutely dazzling against Liverpool. They just could not cope with him. We've got a lot of these players coming through. O'Reilly, I think, he has been massive for us this year. I don't think he's far off him being player of the season. That's how good I genuinely think he's been. He's been magnificent. So, and then we've also got Gahey coming in, Semenyo's added the goals. Gahey has shored it up at the back. Kusanov has nailed down that position now. So I'm a lot more settled than I was previously. And I think we've got some sort of solid foundation to actually build on. So if Pep is going to stay, then it's a bit of a reason to be excited if we can add a few more players in. But the big thing for me, Alex, is the consistency hasn't been there. And yeah, you could lean on the players haven't played a lot together. Has it taken this amount of time to get used to each other? Possibly. Or maybe I'm being too kind. Either way, I do think there's a light at the end of the tunnel. If we get 2 cups over the line, I'll be quietly happy.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I think there's I think you're right. I think you can't. It's difficult to look at something in just the totality of 38 games in a Premier League when there's been so many other things that have happened, and obviously we're always looking forwards as fans. Even if you win the treble, you're already thinking about next season. So you're right in that respect, and I do think that it's one of those things where it's like you've at the beginning of the season when they pummeled you to a 1-1 draw in a game where I've never seen City sit back like that. Yeah. There was no doubt in anyone's mind Arsenal were going to come above City. At the time, we thought Liverpool were going to win the league, not Arsenal. Liverpool fell away, so by definition, Arsenal have got to win it right. They were the better team against City. We saw them go head-to-head. City, we saw in the Carabao, are well there now. And Arsenal have regressed. City have got better. Typically, that seems to happen every year, man, with City and Arsenal. And looking ahead, like you said, you've started to sign better as well. Last season was just chucking shit at a wall and hoping something sticks. Looking at the potential, let's flip it to the potential of a domestic treble. Something you did. I think you're the only English team to ever do it. I think 6 years ago, maybe. So looking at doing that again, I mean, it's incredible that you're in this. You could be in this position. I know you've got. I mean, you could have Chelsea twice in your way here. One on Sunday and one in the final of the FA Cup if they. Balls up against. Is it Leeds? You've got Southampton.
Leeds, they've got
So, I mean, what would a domestic treble this season mean for you? I mean, would you be shocked for where you've been for most of the season?
I would be astounded if we come out of this season with a domestic treble, Alex. Because I mean, let's be honest. If you're looking at the same, if you're comparing to the previous team that did do this. It's no match. Look, it's very much a situation that we find ourselves in. In fairness to City, I think we've not had easy cup runs. I think we've put away the teams that we've needed to put away. If we win that, I know we've got a kind semi-final, but we did just put away Liverpool in the previous round. United obviously had already been knocked out, so we beat what was in front of us. I think if we do it, it's huge in relation to the achievement, but I wouldn't get carried away in terms of saying, oh my God, this City team is like the next breed. We are unstoppable. I wouldn't go down that route, Alex, because I'm consistent. I'm saying that Arsenal are going to probably win the league, and it has been a shit league, and they're benefiting from it. So if we win it, we're doing the exact same thing. Now, I think that's where it kind of is. If we do a domestic treble, I still tell you at the end of the season, mate, we need massive investments into this squad, and the players need to understand where they're playing on the pitch, because there's still quite a few question marks.
No, you're so right.
So yeah, I think that's the fairest way to put it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think as well, like, you've seen it in the Champions League. We watched them last night, PSG. I know you watched Barca and Atletico, but I watched the PSG game. We're probably going to get to see Arsenal go up against maybe one of them in the final.
Mate, City and Arsenal,
they're nowhere near,
miles off. PSG, Bayern. I tell you what, there was a part of me, Alex, watching Bayern Munich against Real Madrid. There was about a 30-minute spell of constant pressure in the final third.
Yeah.
And the quick passing, the smart passing from Kimmich, spreading it out wide to Elise, his touch and dribbling ability. I was like, do you know what? I think God was smiling on us when Madrid put us out, because God knows what they'd have done. I don't want to be depressing,
and City needs to be. I mean, we all need to be. Every single Premier League club in the Champions League needs to be. But City specifically, because you've been at the back end of that tournament more often than any other Premiership team. You've got to be looking at them. And like you said, look, we take our 3 trophies and we move on. But closing the gap with them 2 lunatics. PSG, man, last night. Anybody watching? Anybody that watched that? Fuck me. I mean, look, Liverpool are 6th in the Prem. They're not a League One team, and I have got to be honest, if PSG came up against Salford City, I would have expected a similar performance. How they're doing that. Yeah. I mean, look, you can point fingers at Liverpool all you want. Liverpool couldn't get a kick. I don't think it'd matter. No. I've got to be honest, I know you didn't watch it. I honestly think that it was almost 2011 Barca-esque. How impressive PSG were last night. They just don't have the forwards that they did. But
Alex, do you not just think the big difference with PSG and Bayern as well, to be fair, I think they've got killers in wide positions. I mean, they've obviously Bayern have got Harry Kane as well, but PSG on the front line, Kvaratskhelia is a killer.
Do we?
Ousmane Dembele is a killer. We've laughed at him in the past.
Well, he was off last night, to be fair, Christian. But yeah, I hear you. I mean, look, they're weighing in with what, 60, 70 between the 3 of them every single season. When you've got a 3-pronged attack, you can rely. Dembele had an off night last night. He hit the post. He missed a sitter from the penalty spot. The other 2 didn't. The other 2 took their chances. It should have been more anyway. We're just way off as a league. We're way off PSG and Bayern as a collective. So,
Alex, I'm shocked. I think it's a compliment. We got that top 5. We should think ourselves lucky. That is one bit of credit I'll give Arsenal, because they secured that, didn't they? With that win recently. So
which, to be honest, about a month ago, I was desperate for that coefficient to come to England, and now I'm thinking fuck them, because Liverpool will miss out.
Off.
Now United are like fuck wherever we are. I've not even looked. Okay, look, let's see how this is going to go. Let us know in the comments what you think about the title chase. Can City do the domestic treble above me? Are Arsenal going to win their first league title? And if they do, what do you think about Arteta staying? Thank you for listening, Christian. Appreciate it as always, my friend.
Cheers, mate.
We'll see you on the next one.